Hi, I'm Gail, the founder of Holistic Hands Utah, and we're making this small video just to let people know what actually goes on between the therapist and the client during a session. I'll be working on Barbara today, and Barbara has congestive heart failure, breathing,
COPD.
COPD, and she has a lot of problems with her feet and hands cramping, so I'm going to be using essential oils, working on her feet, using reflexology points to help with the breathing, with the cramping, and with the heart issues. So I'm going to start by just taking off her shoes. I'm using a blend of essential oils that are specific to her foot cramping and also her breathing issues. I'm simply working the essential oils into her foot right now. Which in and of itself is helpful just because of the nature of the essential oils. I'll also be working on reflex points, some for her bronchioles, which are up here, her lungs and her heart, which are down here. And then I'll basically be massaging her feet, trying to get control of some of the cramping that goes on. The essential oils are very soothing. They penetrate into the skin very easily, and they actually work on a cellular level. So when I'm working on reflex points such as the toe, which is the head, the sinuses are down here, the eyes and ears, up on her toes, tops of her toes. They're all getting treated at the same time. The nice part about this is she doesn't have to get undressed. She doesn't have to climb on a table. She can be worked on wherever is comfortable for her, which we've tried to consider when determining appropriate therapy. Right now I'm just working on her feet in general, trying to work on the cramping. Barbara, is it relaxing?
It is.
Okay,
Yes.
it's a very soothing feeling,
Yes.
very relaxing.
Yes, I was kind of closing my eyes.
And Barbara likes to take naps. Working on her lung and her heart areas while I'm working on the tendons and muscles in her feet. So I'm accomplishing several things at one time. Also, the smell of the essential oils is very soothing. Our sense of smell is very important in relaxation. Down here is the lower back reflexes, which Barbara, being in a chair all day, probably gets some lower back pain. Say up here is the bronchioles. Clear them out a little bit. There's some eucalyptus in this blend, which helps with the breathing. I'm going to take a break right now and finish up with her feet. Okay, so now we've completed all of Barbara's footwork. I'm just finishing up by doing a little energy work, putting a little energy into her feet. Then we'll move on to her hands. This should help with the cramping, and it should do quite a bit for her breathing and helping her heart to function a little better, just from the essential oils doing what they do best at the cellular level and working on the reflex points. I'm going to move to her hands, which I'm going to use lotion because I don't want to get essential oils on her hands where she might rub them in her eyes or whatever. So I'm just washing the oils off my hands. And I'll do the same thing on her hands with lotion, touching the reflex points on her hands and trying to take care of some of the cramping. Just working her hands gently. They're pretty fragile, so the fingers, just like the toes, are her ears and eyes. Just below is her sinuses on the palm of her hand. Down here is her lungs and her heart, kidneys, adrenals, lower back. So for the next few minutes I'm just going to be working her hands, working on the cramping and working the reflex points. Now that we're done with her hands, we're going to get Barbara up and into her wheelchair so we can work on her neck. So now I'm just going to step behind her and gently work her skinny little neck muscles and her shoulders and her head, which is mostly for relaxation and stiffness, to get her circulation going and to rejuvenate her a little bit. I'm not using any lotion now, just working on her clothing. And when we finish this, I'll help her back into her chair and then she'll be comfortable and finished.